I may get canceled for this, but I don't want my husband to just work and pay bills. I don't want him to not have a hobby. I don't want him to not have healthy mental health. I don't want him to not have savings. I don't want him to work and slave all day, every day to take care of my bills, our bills, and me just sit there and not contribute anything. This is coming from a young lady who has never been married. I don't have any kids. I have a dog. I'm fully educated, pay my own bills right now, and it is difficult. I have a great career, and it is difficult. So when I think of getting married and building with someone or coming together and bringing our assets together, I could never lay in my bed knowing that my husband has no life and no freedom and maybe no peace because all he does is work and pay bills
Mm.
so that I can enjoy, as if he doesn't deserve to enjoy. I truly want a partnership. I want to contribute. And I'm not talking about if this man was a billionaire, trillionaire, and we just got money flowing everywhere. But what's the likelihood of that? I just can't fathom. And there are some women who can fathom. They don't think about their men, their mental health. I think about my own mental health with stuff I be going through right now. Bills, mortgage, no. Your dog gets sick, you get sick. You got to go out, you got to be out for work for a week now because blah, blah, blah. I just, I want a healthy partnership. I want my significant other to know my wife got me. I want him to not be afraid to come home if he gets laid off, if something happens at work, if he becomes sick and has to take off work for a little bit. I want him to know my wife got us. We got savings because my wife been working. My wife contributes. It's not just on me. I think we really need to think about how that feels for someone when everything is on them. All the taking care of the kids and their bills and what it costs to feed and uh, clothe and get them into these different schools and activities. You have a wife, you have a house, there's cars, there's vacation potentially, there's 401k, there's healthcare, there's a bunch of things that I'm probably not even naming off. And then your world falls apart. And now who is going to help out with that? Some of the videos that I see on social media is just disappointing because it goes to show how men are really not thought of. Their mental health isn't cared about, their peace isn't cared about, their interests aren't cared about. And as somebody who had a father who took care of us, and my mom didn't have to want for nothing, she still decided to work. And she was a stay-at-home mom. We had a nanny, all those things. And she, at whatever point, decided to go back to work. And she has always raised us and told us it's a partnership. Don't let that man just do everything. That man has heart and feelings. That man has a million things going on in his head. You, as his helpmeet, be a helper. Bring some peace and some ease to him. He deserves to have hobbies too. He deserves a life too. So all this rhetoric on the internet about I need a provider man and I just want to sit and twiddle my thumbs and go on trips and not account for anything, you have to understand where the weight of bills, which is real for all of us, is going to go. That man. You have to recognize while you are not having any stress and worry, what is happening to that man. you may not have the stress and worry, but now the man has his own stress and worry and is picking up your weight as well. I think it's just very different um, in regular working class people than rich. I'm not talking about rich people. And a lot of people that claim to be rich ain't even rich. A lot of people that claim that they got provider man don't really have them. And they might be providers financially, but what happens spiritually, emotionally, mentally? How do they treat your kids or y'all's kids? Because it's a lot going on TikTok with that. How do they treat you? It's just so much I want to say, but be very, very mindful of what you think you want. And if you say you are a woman of God, pray about it. Ask God the qualities of a man you should be looking for. I want a provider man. What does that look like? Because it's not just financial. And God can do a lot more with a man of God, and he will care for you in ways you can't imagine over you going over here dating folk that you don't got no business dating because you want a provider. You want to prove a point. Comparison is the thief of joy. It's a lot of people that will rather go to hell to prove that they got all the bags and shoes and trips and sleep with somebody and be with somebody who they do not like and are not attracted to prove a point and live a life of luxury, all to go to hell. But who am I? Who am I?
There was a lot of truth spoken in that video. A lot of truth. She said that I don't want a man who works and does not have a life. But she is the type of woman who a man would sacrifice his life for. And I'm not just talking about her, I'm talking about every woman out there who has that type of mentality. That will motivate a man who never thought he would give everything he had to provide for a woman. When you know that you truly have a woman who's on your side, who's also willing to sacrifice, like you are in your corner, then you motivate a man to be the absolute best version of himself. That's just the truth. Here's what I've noticed. There's always a small group of people, even when the crowd, and I'm talking about the majority of the crowd, is speaking nonsense. There's always a small group of people who know what the truth is, right? They understand, they get it. When it comes to the topic of modern day dating, relationships, marriage, best believe there is a small group of women who understand it. It's not the majority. Yeah, they're not on TikTok constantly. They're afraid to make videos like that. Why? Because they call them pick-me's. They call them idiots. They tell them they're dumb. They wish abuse on them. They literally talk down on women who say, I want to cook for a man. I want to serve him. I want to reciprocate what he's doing for me. It's not just one way, right? It's a healthy dynamic within that relationship. But they're afraid to say that a lot of times because they know they're going to get a lot of hate. But in real life, they're keeping quiet and doing the exact opposite that a lot of these modern women who are out here setting themselves up for failure are doing. That's the silent minority, not the majority, the silent minority. There are women out here, believe it or not, who just keep quiet, who know that, hey, when I get home, I cook, I clean. Why? Because my husband is a good man. Why? Because I want that man to put a ring on his finger. Yeah, they may hang out with you, and you may wonder why they never bring up relationship topics, because they look at you like a woman who's lost. I think a lot of chicks aren't going to like the example I'm about to use because most of them, it's a sour spot in their life. But just a month ago, you had a whole group of women, feminists, who sat there and thought that the election was going to go a certain way. And they sat there thinking, oh, we're all in this together, right? Right? Girl power, Yeah, you're going to vote for it. Yeah, you're in, you're in. And they thought everybody was thinking the same way until they found out that, wait a second, you mean you don't think the same way that I do? Wait, you actually you actually like coffee? Like, what's going on? I think the dating market for a lot of these chicks is going to play out the same way, right? They're going to look around and say, "Oh wow, that woman who I thought was crazy for cooking for a man, for saying how she doesn't mind being submissive, she's married. That guy who I thought, you're toxic, blah 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 blah. No such thing as men or women. We can all just do whatever the hell we want. There's no order to this life. Oh, now he has a family. Oh wow, is that a wife? Wow, he's doing pretty good." And then they'll look around at their peers, their friends, and realize that, whoa, we're still alone. And they'll be angry, right? Start shacking up. Maybe even entertain the DL thing that we've seen that's growing in popularity, whatever it is. There are women out here that understand. Very few are going to speak out. And I've noticed that. Is the ones that get it, they're not loud about it. They don't even want to have these conversations because it's a place of contention. They don't want to be attacked. They get quiet when it gets brought up. So I commend her for speaking out right there. And the good thing about that is when that's actually real, when it goes beyond just the camera, and in real life you're putting that to practice, and you have a good man who also will reciprocate, then you have the opportunity to create a very, very beautiful thing. Listen, as always, guys, check out fathershaverights.com. To my men who are engaged or soon to be married, get legal information on properly preparing legally for a marriage. Yes, we're talking about prenuptial agreements. Also consider checking out Brew Brothers, community of men who value fatherhood and family. Appreciate you guys. Till next time.